All right, let's get into. We mentioned Tom Brady before, but let's get into that game because that was a weird game. Very, very weird game. So let's break it down. So Tom Brady. Let's see here. After being up 17-3 in the first half, Tom Brady made it. That was all in the offense. Tom Brady doing tremendously. The defense stepping up when it needed to against a very, very good Bengals team. Joe Burrow and the Bengals roared back and outscored Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 31-6 in the second half to get the win. Was this loss more about Brady or about the Bengals?
It says more about the Bengals.
Ooh.
I think Brady, he's one person out there. The rest of the team is really a big decline from what it was last year, and the year before when they won the Super Bowl. I think I would point to the coaching staff there. I think that there's a weakness there. I think if it were, what's his name? Who coached him last year?
Bruce Arians.
If he were down there, I think that they'd be playing better. I do. I think Todd Bowles, I respect him as a coach. I think he's a very good coordinator. Head coach wise, I don't think so. He shows no emotion over there. He just kind of out there watching the game, see what happens. They don't seem to play hard as they played for Arians for him. So it's unfortunate. I'm sure Brady's pretty upset. They're still first place with a 6-8 record. So
somehow
the division is very poor, but now they play. It's all division games the rest of the way, I think, or two of the
last three.
Two of the last three are division games. They got to win those two. Figure out a way to beat other teams that are quite poor to make sure they at least get into the playoffs. I don't think they're going very far in the playoffs, though. They're really disappointing. I mean, they got up 17-0, and then they wind up losing like that. It's very poor.
Well, they're going to catch a break. Or, well, depending on how this team has been playing, maybe not, because they play Colt McCoy next, who didn't play so great. That they brought in Trace McSorley. He didn't do very well, threw 2 interceptions. But then the Bucs got extremely lucky this week. The Panthers lost, the Falcons lost. Both teams were 5-8 going into this week. The Bucs now became they're now what 6-8 now, and the Panthers lost, moving to 5-9. If the Panthers won that game, they'd be first in the NFC South, which is crazy because originally with Baker Mayfield, I had them making the playoffs as the 7th seed. That's a little weird. So when it comes to this game, you're putting. Well, let's break it down. What percentages would you base it on? Would you say what? Give me a percentage of who you put the blame on. Or actually, you said it was the Bengals. So
I never put the blame on one player. I don't think you can put all the blame.
You put a lot of it on Mac Jones.
Yeah, but I don't think it was all his fault. I said the offense only has one good player for the Patriots, really, Stevenson. So I don't put all the blame on Mac Jones, but I think Brady played better in his game than Mac Jones played in his. Right? What were Brady's stats in the game against the Bengals? I mean, Brady suffered because they had no running game. They know he's going to throw it every time.
312, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks.
312 yards.
Yep. 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 2 fumbles.
2 fumbles.
4 total turnovers.
Did he lost both fumbles too?
I was going to get into that.
Yeah.
So let me jump right into it.
He must have been under a lot of pressure then.
30% of these snaps, he was under pressure. Most that he's had in a very, very long time.
So their offensive line has been a disaster this year.
It has been with a lot of pieces moving, but I'm going to put 100% blame on Tom Brady. I hold the people or the players who cost the game fully accountable. When it was the Chiefs against the Bucs, I held the Bucs defense accountable because they could not stop Patrick Mahomes. Could not stop him. Last year, we weren't doing the show last year when it came to the Chiefs-Bucs game, or 2 years ago at this point, where Tyreek Hill had 200 yards in the first quarter, which is ridiculous. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first quarter of the first half. Crazy. That's on the Bucs defense. I hold people who cost them the game accountable. Tom Brady had all of the Bucs turnovers. Every single one of them. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. They opened up the second half with a fake punt, which Gio Bernard, he got pressured by the media after the game, which I don't like because the reporters walked up to him and asked him right in his face. He either forgot what the play was, he forgot that it's a fake punt, he missed the read or something, muffs a punt, able to recover it, but they're at like they were on like their own 30-yard line. The Bengals are well into Buccaneers territory. Easy score there. Opening up the second half, they had 5 consecutive turnovers. 5. Most of them in their own zone. It gave the Bengals an easy opportunity to score. This is the problem with Jameis Winston back in 2019. He threw 32 interceptions or whatever. He had 35 turnovers. The defense would get tired from being on the field every, 5th pass. And this was Tom Brady in the second half. And this late game touchdown was with like a minute remaining in the game. That's what we like to call garbage time. A lot of these yards and a touchdown that Brady had was in garbage time. We are seeing a Tom Brady who is more paranoid to get hit than ever. Last year, it was a little bit of that, but he still had a great offensive line behind him. Alex Kappa, Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, Tristan Wirfs, Donovan Smith. This year, the pieces have moved. Ryan Jensen's out. Ali Marpet retired. Alex Kappa's on the Bengals. You have Tristan Wirfs and Donovan Smith. Tristan Wirfs, who was hurt. Donovan Smith, who was the most penalized offensive lineman or player in the league. We are seeing Brady, if it hits 2.5 seconds, he's throwing it in the dirt. Whether someone's open or not, his mental clock's ticking and ticking and ticking. And once it hits a certain point, he's like, oh, I'm going to get hit if I don't throw it away. And that's what he does, even if that's not true. His offensive line collapses. Like I said, 30% of his dropbacks he got pressured in. The most in a very long time. Before, actually, it was 25% against the 49ers. What was it, last week? I said they would suffer their second consecutive blowout loss, and I hit it right on the head. I didn't expect the Buccaneers to score 23 points, though, which is something. I'm putting this on Tom Brady. I'm taking a look at 3-12, 3 touchdowns. I'm saying, okay, that's good. And I see the two interceptions and the 2 fumbles. The Buccaneers cannot play 4 quarters of the game. Like you said, Bill Belichick says there's 60 minutes in every game. First half, Buccaneers look really good. Scoring touchdowns. The offense was moving. The defense was able to stop Jamar Chase. I mean, I believe Carlton Davis was covering Jamar Chase. Held him to 7 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. But most of that game, he was shut down through at least the first half. And then the second half comes up. They weren't able to run the ball that well in the second half. In the first half, they were running the ball pretty well. In the second half, they could not run the ball well. Brady, like I said, 5 consecutive turnovers. It was just bad. Brady accounted for every single one of the Buccaneers' turnovers. It was a bad game. It was a very, very bad game. And Todd Bowles plays conservative. If they're 4th and 1, 4th and 2, he punts it, which is not great. But I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that. Because throughout most of the year, if Leonard Fournette was given a 4th and 1, he wouldn't be able to get through. It would be a turnover on downs. So I'm taking a look at this Buccaneers team. It's not a good team. They will lose because they'll probably play the Cowboys, although we're not going to get into this, but it looks like Jalen Hurts may not be able to go against the Cowboys on Christmas Eve due to a sprained shoulder. Their point spread moved from Cowboys -2.5 to Cowboys -6, if that's the case. So when we make our picks on Friday, the 23rd, we might be able to get into that more.
Who's the backup quarterback for the
Gardner
Eagles?
Minshew.
He's not bad.
He's a viable quarterback,
yeah.
But he's nothing special. But when it comes to this Buccaneers team, Tom Brady himself has played average. He's not played terrible. On Tom Brady standards, he'd be a third-string quarterback. If we're talking about Tom Brady standards.
Yeah, well, I think that he's suffered from not having the offensive line has been the issue because they don't have a running game, and they can't keep Brady protected long enough.
Yeah.
So he's been sacked a lot, and he's under a lot of pressure. So those two things, I mean, they know he's going to throw it, and they know that the offensive line's a sieve, and they can rush through and sack him. So it's been a tough year for him. No doubt about it.
Joe Burrow had only 200 yards in this game.
4 TDs, though.
He did have 4 TDs and a touchdown. Or an interception, sorry. He did not have a great game. He did not have a great game. He was able to convert on, 40-yard drives, 35-yard drives. Because it'd be a Brady fumble here. It would be a Brady interception there. It was a fake punt to open up the second half. It was And I'm not blaming this was on Tom Brady. I'm just saying that failed fake punt was a snowball effect of what's to come.
Probably shouldn't have done that.
You got to have something. I mean, I don't know. First of all, you're at like your 35-yard line. You're doing a fake punt. If you can't get a 4th and 1 with Leonard Fournette, why are you doing a fake punt at all? And Gio Bernard, he hasn't even really touched the offense, and he was like that James White hybrid running back that Brady loves, the receiving back on 3rd down. He was on special teams. He was benched. You got Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt.
That's on the coaches.
It is. And then the offense does not look creative. The offensive line, like you said, is a sieve. But this one's on Brady. If Brady had 1 turnover and they still ended up losing this, I would say, okay, the defense couldn't stop him. The defense couldn't finish it. If he had 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, no fumbles, I'll be like, okay, that was the defense's fault. Tom Brady played relatively well. 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, and only 1 pick. That's okay. But then you take a look at it, you say, oh, he had every single one of the Buccaneers turnovers. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's on Brady because he gave him
It's tough
short
to
field.
win when you turn the ball over 4 times.
It is. So I'm going to give this one on Brady. Not many times I blame Brady fully, but this one was completely on him.
He probably agrees with you.
He should. It was his fault.
Yeah.